My God, the Lions down 16. 5 interceptions from Jared Goff. If you look at his stat line, you would assume they lost by 40.
Yeah.
Worst performance of the year by far for him. I mean, off a cliff the way he's been the past 6 games.
Yeah, no, crazy game. Crazy.
And
7
still.
interceptions total.
And still,
in the game.
The Lions found a way to win. The show's PFT Live, presented by Accenture. It's a Monday edition. Peacock, Sirius XM 85. Sky Sports NFL. Podcast wherever you get your podcast. Sasquatch to my left.
What up?
So, 10 weeks in, and it just feels like the Lions have that combination of skill and horseshoe up their ass.
Yeah, okay, right. And
you need a little horseshoe up your ass.
You do.
If you're going to be the team of destiny.
I hear people say team of destiny, right, but I think there's a team that...
Probably there's only one.
Well, and
at the end of the day, there's only one.
There's a team in red that's undefeated, too, that probably has a lot of fans and people feel, hey, we're kind of team of destiny as well. So I don't know if those two paths will collide, but, yeah, Detroit put another, what do you want to say, check in the box for ways they can beat you. Oh, now they have Jake Bates, one of the clutchest, best kickers in the game here all of a sudden, where we had issues of their kickers and last year and all that. I mean, pretty incredible, that aspect of it, too. I mean, the Lions, as we've talked about, really have it all. And last night was another, piece in the puzzle to show how damn good they are.
With as many kickers as there are.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's amazing that there will be these examples of guy who just gets completely overlooked, completely disregarded, but for the existence of the UFL.
Yes, right.
He wouldn't have been playing for the Lions last night. He shows up at the UFL and starts kicking bombs.
Launching it, right
out of the gates. In Ford Field playing for the Detroit team,
that
Michigan Panthers in the UFL, and nobody's in the building. Like he's kicking into a sea of empty seats, but he's banging these long field goals.
Yeah.
And you just wonder, for as great of a story as it is for the redemption, he surely had opportunities to go into training camps, go into tryouts, and kick like that, and didn't. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Every one of these stories of a kicker who all of a sudden finds his groove and doesn't lose it began with guy who pissed down his leg when he got his chance the first time.
That's right. It is. It's a little bit like, sometimes being a quarterback. You hope you're hot. That one chance you do get on a football team or whatever. Sometimes mechanics can be off. Sometimes these guys deal with, hey, I'm always constantly kicking and torquing on that leg and whatever else, and they deal with little physical issues where it throws them off their game a little bit. But then they get back grooving and whatever else and get another chance. And, like we've seen with a Geno Smith or a Sam Darnold or a Baker Mayfield, like, oh, okay, now they're in the right situation and they're healthy and they got it together. And he's got the opportunity here to show us what he's got, and he certainly has done that.
And it's easy to slip off the horse. Look at Justin Tucker.
Well, that's
one of the greatest kickers in NFL history.
Right.
All of a sudden, something gets in his head. And like Tyler Bass told me last week, you're only as good as your next kick. But once you start thinking about your last kick or multiple kicks or other kicks that went awry when you're getting ready for your next kick, it's just
it's the most psychological position probably on the football field.
Yeah, because it's stand around and do nothing.
Yeah.
Stand around, do nothing. All right, go do the one thing that you're here to do.
Stand around there and you have time to think about that as everybody's going, wait, this is all you do is this one thing. Can you do that? It's not reaction, right? That's where it's different than the other positions on the football field. This is truly a pressure-packed position where it's like, wait, here's what I do. I got to be a machine. And the last 2 field goals, I mean, the first one just barely skimmed into the right side.
I've never seen that before.
The second one barely skimmed in the left side.
Where you see the overcorrection, but it's not an overcorrection.
Right.
He kicks one from 58 that almost
I think he was
the
on the right
goalpost.
hash there, too.
Yeah.
So he kind of, I think, is playing, let me kick it right down the inside of the hash a little bit. And, of course, it was close, where it was one of those where you're like, ooh, is this going to hook, not stay in, whatever. But, again, the resiliency of the Detroit Lions and how damn good they are, we see. They can win losing the turnover battle, 5 turnovers, whatever else. And I ask you, too, like, when the first half was over, and Matt Casey, producer of Football Night in America, he goes, what's kind of going on with the game, right? And I kind of was like, I mean, it felt more like Detroit messing up than Houston actually playing high-level football. They got a little unlucky. The first 2 interceptions with Detroit, the tip pass interceptions that both went up in the air, certainly. But you felt like it was Detroit beating themselves a little bit and putting themselves behind the 8 ball where they couldn't play the game they wanted to play. And then, of course, they had to play catch-up the whole second half.
But also the Texans were taking advantage of it. What they hadn't done Week 9, the Thursday night game against the Jets, for as piss-poor as the Jets were that night, it was only 7-0 at the half. The Texans ran out to that 23-7 lead. In comparison, it felt so much more insurmountable this time than it did when they blew the game against the Jets, when they had clearly outplayed them, or the Jets
it definitely had a different feel
had
than that.
Downplayed. It felt like the Texans learned from that, and we're going to try to deliver the knockout punch. And when they score the touchdown late in the half, you feel like that's the knockout punch, that the Lions can't come back from 23-7.
I did not feel like that. Not with the Lions. The Lions, this is a different team. I mean, they kind of have that same aura or mojo as we would talk about, whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs, even the Baltimore Ravens, if you want to say that. Is just I don't count them out of the game in certain situations. That just was not enough. And I felt like a little bit, Mike, just that Houston, second interception, get the ball in good field position, had to settle for field goals where they could have been up more than 23-7, really, at the half. But the second half, as we know, the tides turned, and it was a totally different football game. And I think we saw more of a true picture of Detroit and more of a true picture of Houston. And again, I don't want to take anything away from what Houston did in the first half, but again, I felt like it was a little bit more bad Detroit rather than, wow, that was really impressive Houston stuff. And in the second half, Detroit really controlled the way. And, of course, C.J. Stroud helped them with some really costly turnovers.
At the risk of pissing off any of our fans who are aficionados of the Texans.
Here we go, 23-7. There we go. This kind of got them started. They got down, so they never got to run the ball and lean on Houston's defense, which is, I think, where they had a great advantage. And that changed a big aspect of the football game. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
It's fine, because the highlights were playing, and it was good to pivot to them. It was a great catch by Jameson Williams there when he got sandwiched. And it just began to feel like the Lions were going downhill. And we're in the fourth quarter, they're down 10, but it's like, this is going to get close.
You could tell they had figured it out.
And once it got close, then you just feel like the Lions are going to pull it off. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.